The White House is denying a report by famed investigative journalist Seymour Hersh that lays out how the U.S., with the help of the Norwegian government, blew up the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines last September. Hersh, who gained prominence exposing the My Lai massacre in Vietnam, the extent of the CIA's domestic operations, and the Abu Ghraib prison scandal, published the story on his Substack. He reported, quote, "Last June, the Navy divers operating under the cover of a widely publicized midsummer NATO exercise known as Baltops 22 planted the remotely triggered explosives that 3 months later destroyed 3 of the 4 Nord Stream pipelines, according to a source with direct knowledge of the operational planning." Hersh added that the plan was developed before Russia's invasion of Ukraine and was aimed at destroying the Nord Stream 2 project before it could come online. Quote, "Biden's decision to sabotage the pipelines came after more than 9 months of highly secret back and forth debate inside Washington's national security community about how best to achieve that goal. For much of that time, the issue was not whether to do the mission, but how to get it done with no overt clue as to who was responsible." The individual tasked for coming up with the plan was U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. He reportedly convened a meeting in December 2021, months before the invasion, to discuss options for what to do about the Nord Stream pipelines. Hersh writes, quote, "What became clear to participants, according to the source with direct knowledge of the process, is that Sullivan intended for the group to come up with a plan for the destruction of the 2 Nord Stream pipelines, and that he was delivering on the desires of the president. Instead of a standard covert operation that would have required Congress to be notified, the sabotage was reportedly deemed as a highly classified intelligence operation within the U.S. military, under which there was no requirement to inform lawmakers. The operation was carried out with the assistance of the Norwegian government, which provided basing for the divers who planted the charges on the pipeline and helped determine the best location to place them. The report adds that no other NATO member nations were given the full story of what was happening. The White House responded to Hersh's story, calling it a, quote, "complete fiction." Then again, the U.S. government tends not to admit, you got us, after its crimes have been exposed. Hersh's account is the most plausible one put forward on how the pipelines were destroyed, and it would explain why investigations by European intelligence agencies have failed to turn up any evidence connecting Russia to the sabotage.